Have you met us yet? We are Migrate World, offering a wide range of services ranging from citizenship and residency by investment to company formation and more. Allow us to explain. If you're seeking residency or a second citizenship and passport, you come to us. Through investment, we help you obtain citizenship or residency, which not only aids you in visa-free travel and security, but also means ample opportunities and an overall better life. We offer citizenship and residency by investment programs in Cyprus, Malta, Bulgaria, Dominica, St. Kitts, Portugal, USA, UK, and Canada.
We at Migrate World are extremely pleased to be here. And of course, we're delighted to have with us today our partner and associate, Mr. Tino Latev, CEO, Global Migration Corporate. Tino was educated in financial management and is a global entrepreneur with investments across many industries and countries. As chairman of the Hong Kong Bulgarian Association of Commerce, he has helped connect many Asian businesses with Bulgaria. Truly a global citizen, I would say, Tino, born in Bulgaria, migrated to Switzerland, and now in Dubai. We welcome you on this platform, Tino.
Thank you for having me.
So, Tino, before we move on to Bulgaria and Portugal, please share a few insights on the major trends in PR and citizenship post-COVID.
Sure, pleasure. Well, what we've seen is a very, very interesting picture because during the pandemic, when governments and borders were closed, you could kind of see which countries still maintained their citizenship and investment programs and which countries shut it down completely. So for us, this was a very interesting experiment in the business, although a painful one, but the insights are tremendous for us. So what we've seen in Europe, for example, is that from all the countries in Europe that offer these kind of investment, citizenship or residency programs, Portugal is the big winner because they continue to operate the program. They had no downfalls in approvals, and their services were still online and streamlined. Meanwhile, the other countries, they came to a complete shutdown. So what gave us confidence even more in Portugal is that they really, really can operate in a crisis scenario. And we've seen this now very clearly. The evidence is on the table. So no more discussions about that. So I think in terms of golden visa programs in Europe, I think Portugal is the best one. And it solidified that status and proved to the world that they can run a program. So it's one of our favorites in the world. That's for that. Let's talk about Bulgaria, Greece, and Cyprus, and a few of the upcoming programs. As you see, Cyprus closed everything completely. Greece came to a halt. They haven't processed anything. Bulgaria introduced a new law, which is very interesting. Nevertheless, the pandemic slowed down things extremely there. So yeah, I mean, that's the European view that we have. I cannot really speak about the United States or Canada, but on the European, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great insight, Tino. Actually, a lot of things in the world did come to a halt, and it's good to know that most of our programs did well and carried on. And in India too, Tino, we've seen nearly a 30% rise in the demand for permanent residency and citizenship programs, mainly for North America and Europe. And we find that while, there are many reasons for this, as we saw from the poll, the winners were obviously the visa-free travel. And I think that personal safety and security and the need to be close to family and friends is what is coming out as also some of the main reasons why people are looking at PR and citizenship programs. But to come back to the European Union, Tino, the EU passports are amongst the most coveted passports in the world. So please share with us now, with our audience, the pathway to a European Union citizenship and the benefits of the Portuguese and the Bulgarian residency and passport. I think there are a couple of slides too that you would like to share with us. So over to you, Tino.
Thank you. Let me find the slides. So
Kunal is here. He can assist you
yeah,
if it's required.
Just need to make it bigger. because I see it in a very small format. So how do I make this bigger? Start. Okay. Yeah. So
That's good. Yeah.
can everybody see it? Good. So before we go into slides and details and everybody gets carried away in reading these things, let me give you a little monologue. So basically, what I need to clearly distinguish here is that Portugal is just a golden visa program which can lead to citizenship, whereas Bulgaria is a citizenship program. So that's the main distinction. In Portugal, you're getting a residency which has to be renewed every 2 years. So it's not a permanent residency. And then after 5 years, you may get a PR, which is a permanent residency in Portugal. And if you pass a very simple language test, it's really simple, you can also get the Portuguese citizenship. We've done clients from China over the past 6-7 years with Portugal, and some of them acquired the Portuguese citizenship, although they speak no word of Portuguese. So while Portugal is marketed as a golden visa program, at the very end, the family which migrated can obtain Portuguese citizenship. And one very important law change which came up I think 7 months ago is that if our migration clients hold a Portuguese residency more than a year and they have a new baby in the family or a child is born to them, this child has by default a Portuguese passport. So this is very, very important, especially for young families or who plan to have more kids. Portugal can be a great way to secure a further citizenship without having the need to invest more for newborn kids. So keep this in mind, please. Now, on the other hand, Bulgaria is clearly a citizenship program. So the way it's structured is that once the investment is done in Bulgaria, from day one, clients become permanent residents. Okay, so remember, in Portugal, you're not a permanent resident immediately. You just get a long stay visa. In Bulgaria, you get a permanent residency. And then after 12 months of holding that permanent residency, clients can apply the citizenship for the entire family without any language tests, without the need to stay in Bulgaria. So there's a lot of advantages to go for Bulgaria because it just gives you a citizenship much quicker. On the other hand, during the time when you're in Bulgaria and you have a PR, you cannot really travel because Bulgaria is not part of the Schengen Union, which means on a Bulgarian permanent residency, you cannot really travel and see Europe and go visit all the places in Europe. But there's also ways around that, legal ways, of course. Once you're a permanent resident in Bulgaria, you can visit any embassy of any European Union country in Sofia, and it's very easy to obtain a Schengen visa. So while you're holding a Bulgarian PR card, you can acquire another Schengen travel visa, and that opens again Europe for you to travel, just like the Schengen visa that you're getting in Portugal. These are the two main main differences. So let's look at the slides, and then I'll just go one by one. I hope you can read this because it's a bit of a small font. Can you guys read this? Do you see it? Okay.
Yes, Tina, that's fine.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe if you can, would you like me to read it out a little, or it's okay?
No, it's okay. It's okay. So let's dive into the Bulgarian citizenship. The program was created for the first time in 2007, 2008. It was created as a slow track program, which means it took 5 years until clients can apply the citizenship. And the investment was roughly €500,000, 1 million left. The update came in 2014, where in the same year, the fast track citizenship law was introduced, basically offering clients the chance to invest double the amount, which is €1 million or 2 million left, and acquire citizenship only after 12 months of holding the permanent residence card. And this is really where we started to promote this program in Asia, and it took off. I mean, people loved it. We've done a lot of cases, and I can assure you that the fast track program works. It works very well. The only hiccup is that clients need to visit 2 or 3 times Bulgaria. Although since COVID came and all these changes in COVID caused a lot of delays, we're able now to offer the program with one visit only. So there is some advantage to COVID at the end because people don't need to attend 2 or 3 times the country. So this is for Bulgaria. Apart from that, a very interesting law in Bulgaria allows clients and their descendants, bloodline descendants, to acquire the citizenship no matter how old they are. So for example, we've had clients from Russia where the lady would apply as a main applicant and she's like 70 years old. And then once she got the citizenship, her adult children, both of them were 35 and 38, they were also able to apply the citizenship and they could also apply their children. So there is no limit on the age. And once a main applicant becomes a Bulgarian, they can pass it on to the bloodline without any restrictions. Yeah, of course, the process takes 8 to 12 months, but you don't have to invest any additional money. So that's a huge advantage of Bulgaria, particularly if you compare it to other programs where you have citizenship, but you cannot pass it on to adult children. So that's a clear advantage. What else is there to say about the Bulgarian program as such? Yeah, you need a non-criminal record. You need to show yourself. I mean, you need to show where you got the money from. You need to show that you're a good character. You need the usual papers. So it's not rocket science, but it takes a little bit of an effort on the side of the investor. That's it for Bulgaria. Do you like me to add something more? Did I forget anything?
No, the best thing I like, Tino, about the Bulgarian citizenship is that the European Union is home.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a given. That's a given.
Yeah. So hence it's one of my favorite programs.
Yes. Bulgaria is part of the European Union, and as a European Union citizen, any client can go live anywhere in the European Union, inclusively Switzerland and Norway. So, for example, me as a Bulgarian, I can move to Switzerland anytime I want. There's no restrictions because Switzerland signed a treaty with the European Union which allows citizens from the European Union to legally move to Switzerland. You don't even need a job; you can just go and live there. Yeah.
The whole of the Europe opens up, and
Yes,
yeah. And Tino, like Portugal, I think even Bulgarian does not have any language test or exam. Am I right?
No.
Yeah. So it's a fairly easy process, and
It is, yes.
in barely 26 months you can become a European Union citizen.
Yes.
Great,
And
thank you.
the specifics about the citizenship application, because we've done many of them. You go to the Ministry of Justice when you apply your citizenship, and there is a small interview which is conducted in Bulgarian language, but you can bring your own translator. So our clients usually bring a translator. The Ministry of Justice clerk would ask, a few very simple questions. The client can answer in his own language, and then the translator will translate to the office clerk the answers. But again, the interview is not a formal part of the application. It's just conducted on the site. So nobody can fail if they have a blackout or, don't know what to say at that moment, because some people get nervous, you have to understand that.
Right, yeah. Great.
So that's it for Bulgaria. Very simple, very streamlined. And COVID has helped us to reduce the visits to Bulgaria only to one visit. So,
Right.
so good for people.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So should we move on to Portugal? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Portugal doesn't need a big introduction. I mean, everybody knows it. It's a famous country. And I think their residency and citizenship program has been around for roughly 7 years now, 7 or 8 years. And they have done wonderful things for people that invested there. It started off with investment in real estate, and it was easy. You could buy real estate everywhere as long as you meet this investment threshold of 280 to 350,000 euro. and the processing time was very short a few years ago, but now it's getting a little bit slower. But anyway, it's still a good program, and there are some changes coming, which are very important. From next year on, the thresholds for the investment will be raised to €500,000. They're also introducing this fund investment, apart from the property investment. And they also have an option for, starting a company and hiring people, but nobody's going to do that anyway. But this is an option for people who want to really move their business to Portugal. This may be an interesting thing for them. In general, on the property side, they're banning the eligibility of residential property in the coastal regions. So if you try to buy residential property in Lisbon or any of the big cities on the coastal regions, the property will not qualify for the golden visa anymore. So property investments have to be done in touristic facilities like hotels, tourist villages, farmhouses. And if you really want to go residential, you have to go inland. But to be honest, a residential investment inland of Portugal is likely to yield zero and maybe lose you money. So I wouldn't recommend it. That's my take on it. Because if you're going to sink €500,000 into a property, €500,000, it should be somewhere in a big city center or somewhere within the agglomeration of big cities. Otherwise, it's a money dump. So having these changes in mind, we're going to heavily promote the fund option, because the fund option is fairly easy. Clients don't need to go to Portugal, don't need to search for properties, do not have to do background checks on the properties and see if it's eligible or not. It just takes a lot of hassle out of the process, and it saves a lot of time. And with one fund investment, which is basically shooting the money into a fund, you can start the process of migrating. So that's a very good thing, and that's a very good option that they've introduced. The investment threshold of 500,000 matches the investment threshold of properties. So there's really no difference in the investment size. What is different is that if clients buy the fund, they save the VAT on the properties. And the VAT on properties can be very high. So there's a lot of reasons why the fund investment may be interesting. But of course, if people are scared about funds, they can still buy properties. Now, having said that, what about processing? So processing time right now is about 9 months for the golden visa for the entire family. It needs one visit to Portugal, just one visit. And the biggest issue is getting bank accounts. So the biggest holdup currently in all the European Union residency programs is getting bank accounts for clients. We have solutions, but it's a fair amount of effort to open those accounts. So keep this in mind, please, because sometimes things slow down because of the banks, not because of the clients, not because of us. It's simply the banks. They have very strict due diligence processes now, and they just want to know everything about the client. After getting the golden visa, which is, let's say, 9 months after the investment, clients have to spend a certain amount of time in Portugal every year. It's between 5 and 14 days. You can go with the family, have a vacation, enjoy the good weather, whatever you like, but you have to spend 5 to 14 days every year in Portugal. Also, keep in mind that there is ongoing fees with the Portuguese residency program. So, for example, you have to renew your documents every 2 years, which would raise, a couple €1,000 in fees. Also, please do not forget that tax residency is an important issue. So, if you don't plan to move to Portugal, you should declare that you're a non-tax resident. But our legal team can handle that. I'm just making you aware because Portugal in this regard is a bit more complicated than Bulgaria. In Bulgaria, there is no renewal fees, there is no ongoing fees, and tax residency is not really an issue because Bulgarian taxes are almost non-existent. It's like 10%. So it's nothing. But in Portugal, you have to pay attention to tax. And I'm not going to talk about tax anymore because it will raise too many questions. But keep this in mind. What else is there? Yes, Portugal is part of the Schengen agreement, which means the Portugal golden visa would give clients the opportunity to go and visit other countries, not live in other countries. This is widely confused, and I see this all the time. People think if they have a golden visa from Portugal, they can go live in Germany. It doesn't work like that. So if you have a golden visa from Portugal, You can travel, you can visit, you can be a tourist, but you cannot settle in different European countries other than Portugal. So keep this in mind, please. And in general, if you've renewed your visa every 2 to 3 years and you've kept it for 5 years, and you spend the necessary time in Portugal, after the 5th year, you and your family can acquire a permanent residence of Portugal and also file the application for becoming citizens of Portugal. And again, from our experience with doing a lot of Asian clients, I think the chances are really, really good that whoever applies the Portuguese citizenship will also get it. Just learn a few words in Portuguese, They're not going to ask you difficult things. But maybe, learn the day-to-day phrases like, how are you? How's your day? Can I order this coffee? Something like this. So the language test is not really an issue, although it's part of the formal application. So people can fail the language test as part of their application for citizenship. Keep this in mind. In Bulgaria, you cannot fail because by law, there is no language test. Okay. In Portugal, by law, there is a language test. Those are the main differences. And, that's about it, in a nutshell.
Thank you, Tino. That was extremely informative. Looking back, I feel in today's dynamic and somewhat unstable political and social environment, an European Union passport allows, as you said, unlimited travel, safe passage, and consular assistance, I believe, for you and your family in situations that may be beyond your control. And I think that's priceless, having seen what we've all gone through in the last 2 years. In fact, as you're aware, Tino, and as you rightly said, a lot of Asians are now looking at these programs. And in India, both these programs, Portugal and Bulgaria, are doing very well with our Indian clientele. And, the fact, like you said, that you're legally entitled to stay, work, and set up businesses in any of the 28 European Union countries, with the rights to free or affordable tuition fees, access to, national healthcare benefits, I think that says a lot. And, Tino, at least I've suffered on this on a lighter note. If you've ever had to stand in a long queue in Europe before getting out of the airport, you will appreciate having an EU passport even more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
so, yeah.
what I also tell people is, if you're interested in this, pull the trigger and do it as quick as possible, because these programs, they change, they disappear. So don't waste time, We've had many clients who, wanted to bargain with us pricing, although there's not much room we can do, wanted to wait a little bit and see how things go. And this is not the right approach to this. If you have the chance and you have the money, pull the trigger and do it, because things only get worse and things only get more complicated. So this is my, slogan to everybody who's looking at this now.
Right. Good advice, Tino. We do the same, because if you've decided and you need to set a goal or a timeline for yourself, like you rightfully said, if you have the investment, one must pull the trigger right now.
Yeah.
And before we go on to our second poll and our questions and answers, Tino, I'd just like to share a brief about Migrate World with our audience. And Migrate World is a global leader in PR and citizenship by investment programs since 2007. And while we are headquartered in Dubai, we have a global presence with offices and associates across the world. We are a licensed firm recognized by the governments we work with, and all our programs are necessarily government approved and constitutional. Kunal, can we have that slide on the India team? Thank you so much. Please contact us for a free consultation. We have offices in Delhi, Mumbai, and Hyderabad with senior consultants pan-India. And all of them specialize in global programs and act as trusted advisors, assisting you every step of the way. In fact, over the years, they've all accumulated vast experiences. In fact, I should be saying we've all accumulated vast experiences by having helped hundreds of families become citizens of the world legally. It's very easy to get in touch with us. Kunal has shared the link on the chat box. You can also get in touch with us with our first names at migrateworld.com. I'm Shalini at migrateworld.com, based out of New Delhi. Srinath at migrateworld.com is in Hyderabad. Kunal, whom you've met here, is out of Mumbai. Kunal at migrateworld.com. Meenu and Jaswinder look after North India at migrateworld.com. We have also shared our WhatsApp and our telephone number here, our business number, which is 9810004546. Please do get in touch with us to get all your, while we're going to go through all the questions here, in case there's anything else that you want to, speak to us on a one-on-one, please do get in touch with us on these numbers. So, Kunal, I think we can go on to our second poll. Let's see the audience where they are.
The poll is live now.
Well, that's very interesting. We seem to have the right audience today.
Yes.
Yes, I see that happening today in India too, that European Union and Canada, followed closely by Canada and Caribbean islands, of course, and the USA somehow seems to have lost a bit of its shine. But yes, EU is, like we said, one of the most coveted passports today. Thank you for participating in that. And now we are open for our questions and answers. Kunal, could you assist us with that, please, through the chat box? And either Tino or I can take the questions.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. So we have our first question from Mr. Anuj, who's based in Indore. So he wants to know, what is the language spoken in Bulgaria and how does it feel to live in Bulgaria? How's the life in Bulgaria? He wants to understand.
Yeah, so Bulgaria is an Eastern European country, and therefore it has its own language because it's an old country. It's 1600 years old. So Bulgaria is widely regarded as a homogeneous society where people have only one language, and this is Bulgarian. Bulgarian is very close to Serbian, Russian, Croatian, so it's a Slavic language, and they use the Cyrillic letters. So if you're in the capital of Bulgaria, Sofia, that's the name, Sofia, most of the street signs are written in Bulgarian and English. And I would say a rather fair amount of the population which lives in Sofia or in the big cities, their second language is always English. So they start learning English when they're in grade 5 and 6. So by the time they come out of university or high school, they have a decent English. So getting along with English through the Bulgarian society in daily life is very, very easy. Now, what's life in Bulgaria like? Well, you have mountains, you can go ski. You have the beach because of the Black Sea. You have a lot of nature because it's not overcrowded, not overpopulated. I mean, there's only 7 million people in an area twice as big as Switzerland. So it's not densely populated, and therefore you will never bump into people on the street. So you can have a fairly relaxed lifestyle. You can eat whatever you want; everything's there. So I would say, it's a middle class European lifestyle.
Thank you, Tino. I've got a question which has come in to me privately, and that's Tripat Swani, who's asking, what's the kind of investment we are looking at for Bulgaria? While you mentioned, Tino, about the investments of 1 million and fast track at 2 million euros, we do have financed options which start at 140,000 euros onwards. Tripat, do get in touch with us and we can share the exact investment with you, depending on the family size and the type of program that you want to take. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Shalini, for your answer. We have our next question from Mr. Robin, who is from Mumbai. He wants to know, is it possible to extend the golden visa to family members also?
Yeah, the golden visa is given to the immediate family, which is, kids under 26, the wife, both spouses. And of course, there is a possibility to include the parents. So parents of both sides of the applicants can be included. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So you can bring your mom and your dad.
Thank you. So the next question we have is from Isha. She wants to know what are the benefits of obtaining a Bulgarian passport.
Well, the benefits are that you're becoming a European Union citizen, so you're not just Bulgarian, you're European as well, which opens up the entire continent for you and your family to settle. So when you become Bulgarian citizen, you don't have to live in Bulgaria. You can live in Germany, in Switzerland, in Norway, in Sweden, whatever you want. So there's no restrictions really. It's like moving to a different state between India. India has many regions and states, and you become part of the United States of Europe. So that's really the main advantage. And of course, you get the benefits of retirement. All European countries have very good retirement benefits. You get the health benefits, so you can visit a lot of facilities for healthcare free of charge, and of course education. Look, if you move to Switzerland, and this is happening as we speak, German people from all over Germany are moving to Switzerland because the university education in Switzerland is free of charge. So if you go today to a Swiss university, half of it is German people, because first of all they can get in very, very easy, and second of all, there's no tuition fees. So you can have a world-class education, one of the top 20 universities in the world, and it's free of charge. You're not going to go out with student debt like in America. And you go to America, you finish college, you get $250,000 in debt. So if you look at it just from this perspective, you have 2 or 3 kids and they have to go to university. If you let them study in the United States, you lost a lot of money, and maybe that's the money you need to invest in order to buy a citizenship in Europe. So it's worthwhile.
That's fabulous, Tino. That's fabulous, because world-class education is a priority with most of the families and the parents now, with the world getting so much more closer. And I also got another private message question from Partha Basu. He says, I wanted to hear more about the Bulgaria program. Some more details for Bulgaria, please. Partha, we will be in touch with you after this, and we can probably have a one-on-one call or a meeting. Do get in touch with us, but we would have your contact details, and we'll call you to know more, to tell you more about the Bulgarian program. Over to you, Kunal, for the next questions.
So, Mr. Zafar from Gurgaon is asking, can you tell me more about the point that you mentioned about visa-free travel to the Schengen zone?
Yes. So if you have a Portuguese golden visa, you can travel around the Schengen zone using that Portuguese visa. However, if you have a Bulgarian permanent residence, you cannot travel within Europe with that permanent residence. However, you can visit any of the European embassies in Sofia, the capital city of Bulgaria, and you can obtain a travel visa for Schengen. And it's going to be given to you because you're a permanent resident of Bulgaria. So the denial rate or refusal rate is, I think, close to 0%. So once you have a PR or permanent residence in Bulgaria, it's very easy to obtain a Schengen travel permission within the Schengen area. And that's really the solution to it. I mean, the visa cost is about €100. That's it. So, yeah. So I think the conclusion is that although Bulgaria is not part of the Schengen agreement, you can still access Schengen by obtaining an additional visa, which is a tourist visa, while you're waiting for your passport. So
that's great. Thank you so much, Tino. The next question is on Bulgaria's economy. So Umed from Hyderabad wants to know, how is the Bulgaria's economy and how can he settle there?
Well, the economy of Bulgaria is highly dependent on the economy of Europe. So if the economy in Europe is bad, the Bulgarian economy is bad too. So they're interconnected. Currently, there's a labor shortage. So there's like 1 million jobs that cannot be filled. It's just simply not enough workers. So there's a high demand on skilled workers. On the other hand, the economy hasn't generated a high wage economy. So which means that if you compare Bulgarian salaries to the salaries of German people, Bulgarians make 3 times less than Germans. So it really, once you're settled in Europe and you want to work in Europe, I don't think anybody's going to work in Bulgaria because you just don't make enough money. If you have the chance to go and work in Germany or in France or let's say in Holland, you naturally go there. So the Bulgarian economy is really more or less for local people. Foreigners do work there, but they work for big corporations like Microsoft and Google and HP and all these big companies where you can really make use of your language skills. But again, you're not going to make as much money as a German person. So once you're settled in Europe, don't work in Bulgaria. You can find better opportunities outside.
Yes, and well said, Tino. And I think the idea of is all about getting a European Union citizenship.
Yes. You don't have to stay in Bulgaria. There's no need for that.
Right.
And I have to say, throughout our career here with hundreds of clients, I think we had one client who really moved to Bulgaria and stayed there, like one guy. So nobody's ever went there to stay.
Right.
The next question that we have is from Shweta, who wants to know, her daughter is 26 years old. So can she get a citizenship by descent?
In Bulgaria, yes. Yeah, she can. There is no age limit. You can pass on. Even Bulgaria is a very interesting law because there is a lot of Bulgarians around the world, from ancient times even. Even if your great-grandfather was a Bulgarian and he's long gone and deceased, you can still apply the citizenship. If you prove that your great-great-great-grandfather was a Bulgarian, they'll still give you the citizenship. So passing it on to your children and grandchildren is not a problem at all. This law is probably the most common law for obtaining Bulgarian citizenship, actually. If you look at the statistics, over the last 10 years, Bulgaria has naturalized well over 200,000 people from third countries. And most of these people were done by the law of descent. So actually the Bulgarian immigration program by descent is much more successful than the investment program.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Yes, lovely. Yeah. Partha Basu has been asking us for information on Bulgaria. Partha, we will send it across to you. We will send you a full summary on the Bulgarian program. In the meantime, please do get in touch with us at the details mentioned on the screen at the moment. Thank you.
So the next one that we have is from Mr. Devain. He wants to know, is English widely spoken in Portugal?
Amongst business circles and business people, yes. The general people on the street, less likely. Portugal is a very local economy, and you have to look at it in a way that, it's not just Portugal. There's a lot of countries that speak Portuguese, like, Brazil and, parts of Africa. And so Portuguese is widely spoken throughout Europe. So A lot of the normal people in Portugal do not speak English, but if you move yourself in business circles and with professionals, of course they speak English. So my experience in Portugal with English has been very, very good so far. So whenever we meet people or do business, it's all English. So I don't think there's any issue.
Subhash Verma is saying that I'm keen to know about Bulgarian nationality of PR. Subhash, we will be in touch with you. We will share all the details with you. I will tell one of our senior consultants to be in touch. Subhash, do contact us. We have our details given here. Do we have any more questions, Kunal?
No, I don't think so. I'll just, check it once again.
Yeah. That is very informative, Gino. Excellent insight into the life and the programs for Bulgaria and Portugal. Just sharing a secret with you that Bulgaria is my favorite because of the fact that the timelines are so easy, the process is less cumbersome, and the fact that there is no language or residency requirement. And the favorite part, like you mentioned, Tino, is the citizenship by descent. I think that's fabulous.
Yes, it just helps hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah,
right.
Really,
right.
yeah.
So once again, I would like to thank everyone who's come in today, taken their Saturday evening off and spent time with us. Do keep in touch with us. We keep having a lot of webinars, sharing the various programs that we have. We do North India, we do Europe, we do the Caribbean islands, and we would be sending out the information very soon on our next seminar. And please do get in touch with us for any further questions that we've not been able to take over here, or any other personal details that you would want on the programs. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tino.
Thank you very much.
It's such a pleasure having you here and sharing such insights into the countries. Thank you. And Kunal, thank you for being such a support.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you soon.
See you.